Good morning. Alert. Good morning, everybody. Happy Monday. Back from my little break. Chill. Few days. Celebrated birthday. Hung out. Good. Oh, I need to shave. We are back. I finished, or I'm kind of redesigning stuff, so I finished part of it, the starting screen here. But I'm working on the other stuff. Launch 2.0 is what I'm calling it. But we got a good show today. A lot of news happened over the weekend and really just today. So yeah. Let's just jump into it. This so I think this happened when I was gone. Let me just actually, what's the date on this? April 20. Oh yeah, this is my birthday actually. They Discord openly has shared now that they plan to IPO. It's been there's been a lot of rumors in the past, mainly stemming from Discord just needing money. There was a potential Microsoft acquisition thrown out, I think around COVID time or shortly after COVID time, 2021, 2022 or something. And then, actually here I got Perplexity, to give me more context. They didn't even answer it. Yeah, so I guess though it's interesting because IPOs right now are not cool. They are the market is dealing with other shit right now. Actually my market could be good today. I don't know. Whoops. Oh, not Yahoo. Oh my gosh. Yahoo Finance, jeez. But it's not a good time to IPO, so it's more so them just sharing and like there's work that needs to be done and such. Yeah, I mean, Nvidia's down 3% today. This might be later we're gonna cover the Huawei new Huawei chip that we actually covered in the last week. And that could be it because competition is heating up, as the thumbnail says. Yeah, I think this is what's affecting the stock. Anyways, yeah, so Discord IPO. It's not a good IPO time, but you know, they are just sharing that in the future they still plan to. Did I highlight this? I don't even remember doing that. Can I have Control Z? No. Oh, there we go. But more immediate is that Jason Citron, the founder and CEO, is stepping down, and I'm so sorry for butchering the name, but Humam Sakini is replacing him as CEO. So let's just read and then we'll just commentate here. Yeah, his decision to transition out of the role. Hi everyone, I have some big news to share and I'll cut right to the chase. We have hired a new CEO to lead Discord through our next chapter of growth and someday becoming a public company. I'm thrilled to share that Humam Sakini will take on this role, and I'll continue as a member of our board of directors and advisor to the CEO. Yeah. But he says directly that they're going to be becoming a public company someday. And yeah, I guess just real quick on like more specifically on that, it seems like general sentiment is that things will go to shit as soon as they IPO. And I think that's a fair assessment. I don't think it will, because I think they know that the core audience of like gamers is very sensitive to bullshit, I guess. I don't know. And that I think they know that, and they will not take any risk or do anything crazy to disrupt that like relationship that they have. And they built over time, importantly too. But I don't think I could see how people could think though that it's going to go to shit, because I mean, if we think about the incentives, as soon as you go public, you have like a legal fiduciary duty to your shareholders, essentially, to make the money, putting it simply. And you have to let go of some things in that relationship, because you're going to have to put profits over other things. At least eventually you have to get there. You don't have to immediately. We've seen like Cloudflare is a good. I mean, there's plenty of tech companies that don't make money. Reddit, in our IPO, and like they're fine, but you're going to have to eventually do that. Discord has their little quests now with what are the, like, I guess there's quests, and you get like, essentially they brought like microtransactions with decorating our profile and shit like that. I think that's fine, because like, as someone who just doesn't really care, I could just ignore it, and like, all's the merrier. Like, I'm kind of just, you don't have they're not forcing it down your throat that much. There have been a few pop-ups, but like, it's, I don't know, to me it's, I don't really care. It's whatever. Especially if we go back to the should devs put video game and ads argument that I had. If Discord has to put in these little microtransactions that I could easily ignore to be able to sustain Discord as a business and pay all the employees and shit, like, that seems like a pretty easy decision, and I'm cool with that. So I don't know, but I guess it's like, are they making enough money, and do they have any growth plans? So let's read. Those are the CEO, Jason Citron's, like, kind of talking, because it seems like is addressed to the employees. Building Discord is one of the most rewarding experiences of my life. From the very beginning, our mission has been bringing people together around games. It's a mission I've dedicated my career to, and seeing it comes to life through all of you and the impact we've made together have been nothing of short or extraordinary. Jeez, I can't read. Mondays are hard reading days. I've learned more than I ever imagined I would, and I'm deeply grateful for so many friendships, challenges, and achievements along the way. As we enter our next phase, I've been reflecting on how I can best contribute to Discord's long-term success. The job of a CEO is constantly evolving, and over the years, I've continuously hired myself out of a job. Usually that means delegating work to and then taking on different leadership challenges. However, I look at what is needed of Discord's CEO over the next few years, and I realize that it's time for me to literally hire myself out of a job. I do think it's big, though, that a CEO founder is realizing that they, their skills and, knowledge may not be the best to navigate them, like, once they get hit like some, growth kind of hit, like he's doing now. Like that, I mean, that does take a lot to do that, and like put your ego aside and like kind of your baby, i.e. Discord, for him. Like that's big. Takes a lot to do. One thing I know for sure, our company's bigger than any one person. Its future depends not on just me, but a strong leadership team, clear vision of what comes next, and all of your incredible talent, care, and hard work. Today's Discord has all of that. It's by far the best version of the company we've ever had. We have a clear strategy, new business lines to grow into, love and passion from our users, and an incredible team of people working tirelessly to deliver for them. From this position of strength, it feels like the right time to transition from CEO to board member and advisor. So I'm thrilled to welcome Humam Saknini. I think I said Sakini earlier. Saknini as the CEO of Discord. All right. He says he shares about him, but let's just look up. Vice chairman of Activision Blizzard. He's the president of King Digital, which they do say this in the article. But King is I wish we could read Bloomberg. Yeah. King, which is actually acquired by Activision Blizzard. Most notably makers of Candy Crush. That's like all I know them for. After spending significant time together, I've complete confidence in his ability to lead us into the future alongside Stan and the rest of the executive team. I also think it's important to note that Activision Blizzard is a public company, and that it's mainly existing games already. Like that seems to be notable in that they're like taking on like he's valuing and like weighting the gaming experience potentially versus like someone who's maybe more in the like consumer app space more generally, or like chat space more generally, I guess. Like someone from like Slack, Teams, I don't know. I guess this just seems like a more strategic pick towards like one thing, i.e. gaming, than like something like just more general experience. I don't know. Humam brings more than 15 years of experience in the gaming industry, including Activision Blizzard, where he served as chief strategy officer, helping guide franchises like World of Warcraft, Call of Duty. He later took over from the founders of King, and I think this is probably important too, is like another founder handoff, which is kind of what Discord is doing, to delight the players of their live service games while substantially growing the King business in the public market. Bro, Candy Crush Prince money. Yo, what's up? His first day will be Monday, April 28th. Hey, his first day's today. I'll continue to be around as he onboards in the background to support him in advisory capacity. While my role will evolve as board member and advisor, my commitment and love for Discord remains the same. I've always said that so many of my most precious memories are around games, and there are countless ones with so many of you. Too much to recount, but I want to especially thank Stan for his partnership, truly being honored to bring Discord and the world together. I also think it's interesting that I'm sure I don't know, maybe there is, but I'm just thinking of like overlaps between King, where the new CEO is coming from, and Discord, where like King is mainly a microtransaction company, it being, primarily mobile games. And that actually fits pretty well with Discord's business model right now, considering it is microtransaction based. But one thing I did want to say with the Quest things is that it is actually a form of advertising, because I'm pretty sure Discord works with like companies. You watch the video and then you get something like that's advertising. And I think I was confusing that with the just straight up microtransactions of like the visual like stuff for your profile. So like I guess those are two different but similar forms of income. One's advertising, one's just paying directly. I wonder how they're going to expand on that. But they have to be getting other forms of revenue, because they have server boost. So they have Nitro. They have server boost, which you can buy separately from Nitro. It's like a few bucks a month. They do have membership, so if you're a Discord profile, you could have like subscription memberships within Discord, and I mean they you take a cut of that. They used to have it so you could buy games within Discords, but I'm not sure if the case anymore. That's really it. I don't know how else they make money. But like, you'd think the subscription revenue would be like substantial enough. We'll watch later, but Perplexity CEO, he actually said that he's okay with like the subscription revenue they're bringing in it funding things. He's like, yeah, it's actually like that, we kind of prefer that because it's like very consistent and it's enough for us to kind of like do like sustain things. And I thought that was interesting because to me it seems like $20 a month for the AI stuff for like how much they have to spend behind the scenes doesn't seem like a lot, but he seems to think it's enough. So I mean, I guess now comparing it to Discord, $10 a month for what they provide, maybe it's like actually pretty sustainable. Let's see if they actually said anything about revenue. Discord is valued around 15 billion in 2021. Around revenue estimates were 200 million in 2021. It's definitely significantly up since that. The company has raised nearly $1 billion in funding. Yeah, they turned down the Microsoft acquisition, which we mentioned earlier. Yeah, I don't know. That's interesting. I'm curious to see what's gonna happen. But I do think that they would benefit from some sort of they're definitely weighted a lot towards gaming, which, you know, that's what makes sense that they hired that CEO. But most of my communities I are in outside of gaming are like creators, some of which have nothing to do with gaming, and then like tech. Like I'm in a bunch of like programming language, like frameworks, like open source projects. Like that's like the most outside of like gaming and creators. And I wonder how they can monetize like that crowd. I guess like Discord Nitro, but I just don't see a lot of those people really caring about like the like profile decoration stuff, which is I guess kind of how I feel, but I don't know. And I wonder if they want to use the money that they raise to do anything specific, or if they're just like, yeah, we just need to pay the bills. Like we're running out of money and we can't raise anymore, so yeah, that's what it might seem like, but cool. Okay, let's read a gamedeveloper.com X Game Sutra. Nitro removes size file limits. That is a big one actually. Yeah, that's a good benefit. The emotes is a good one, but I guess that's more for Discord owners and like boosting. Yeah, and the emotes. Yeah, I think the yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like though, like there's more like Discord could do a little more, I think though. Like there's probably some things that they could put in Discord to make them money that's like fun, that's like cool, like enhancing the product. I even find paying more with Nitro if they like add other things to make it worth paying like more money. Is there different Nitro tiers? I think there's 2 tiers. Is there 2 tiers? I can't. I'm streamer mode enabled. Anyways. Okay, let's read Game of Sutra's take on it. Yeah, former Activision Blizzard chairman and King Digital Entertainment president Human Saknini the name new CEO of Discord. Okay, it's a notable shift for the voice, video, and text communication platform, which is utilized by over 200 million monthly active users, including a litany of video game developers and communities. Sakini has been appointed to eventually turn Discord into a public company. He's also helped the platform continue refocusing on gaming roots while exploring the opportunities presented by advertising, microtransactions, and providing social infrastructure to game developers. Yep, I guess right now this is kind of it. I think though, actually, I'm thinking now, I could see them going more into like providing like voice as a service for like video games, like multiplayer games, like them not needing to like deal with that, and then you could just like sign into Discord and then you could just chat in game via Discord. I think you could kind of do that already or something, but I could see them like getting into that or doing something like that, because I sort of like PlayStation or PSN, you could do that. Maybe not. Social infrastructure for game developers, like that's interesting. Sakini will officially step in the role April 28th. His soon-to-be predecessor, Discord co-founder and long-serving CEO Jason Citron, will remain the company's board of directors and become an advisor to the CEO. Citron's fellow Discord co-founder, Stanislav. Oh, okay, this is he kept mentioning Stan in that. Will remain chief technology officer. Got it. Yeah, someday go public. Describe Discord as a foundational part of the gaming ecosystem. Pledge to scale business while remaining true to the company's core vision. There's literally no new information here. Cool. Yeah, alright. I don't know. I think that they know that if they fuck up, like, that, you know, their audience, the gamers, are very sensitive to change and like bullshit. So I don't know. I don't think that the company's gonna go to shit, but because I think that if like they're just a low tolerance, their audience, their customers just have a low tolerance for bullshit, and so I think they know that, and I don't think that they're gonna send the. I don't think it's gonna go to shit when the IPOs, just because I think they're very aware of how well they need to execute whatever they do. Would Discord launch? Yeah, no, totally. Yeah, and I also think, I think that the market is just not that good towards alternatives. I think Discord kind of has cornered it a bit, and I don't really think there's that many good alternatives. So, like, yeah, I would love more privacy too, like some sort of like end-to-end encryption, like something like that. Like that would like literally, I feel like that would actually be one of the best things for them, because it would probably draw a lot more people. Like there's a like Matrix. There's this program called like Matrix chat. Yeah, this is like probably the closest thing to Discord that's privacy friendly, but there's like, it's like an open source like thing. It's like all kinds of stuff, or like, I don't know, typical, checks all the boxes. Yeah, and it's essentially like Discord or Slack, but it's like end-to-end encrypted, private, all kinds of stuff. But you have to like host it yourself. They just provide the protocol. They do have like a, yeah, like you have to like go find a client. But it's not accessible, and that's usually like the problem with the privacy thing. So anyways, my point is, if Discord added something like end-to-end encryption, this community is already fracturing. Like I swear, like once a month on Hacker News, I see like some like post about how Matrix is going to shit, or like something's wrong with it, and like they're like, oh, like blah blah blah, complaining. If Discord would just like add some sort of privacy thing, like they could totally just like take on this market, I feel like. Anyways, I agree, and I think that the privacy stuff's probably like the number one feature I'd love. It is not doing too hot today. Mixed day on the market. Reddit's doing good. We actually have Rivian's up a lot, actually. We actually have our earnings this week. A lot of earnings. Google had earnings previously. Let's look at this, and then we'll actually look at the sale of Chrome here. Who's down? Let's look at Google earnings. They this is crazy. They have to be like trading on like Google potentially selling Chrome. There's actually been a lot of discourse in the tech community about selling Chrome. Most people don't think it'll be good. They think that'll actually be a net negative, even with, you know, all things considered with Google, just because like I guess like just handing this to another company, just I feel like it doesn't solve what it needs to. Like it doesn't really like add much to it, I guess. Or like it, I don't know. It could use some work. They could use some more thought into fixing it. Yeah, brother, it's crazy how like I literally also like people shit on Google as like a investment, but fuck man, they have so much cash. They just have like they bring in so much money still. Like it's kind of crazy. Like 100 billion net income. 100 billion. I don't know. I think that's like something up in the air. I think uh I've read like in the past when they talked about this that like something like Brave has enough like unique code. It's like forked enough from original Chrome that like they could either just sustain it themselves or they just don't even care because they're already so far off of like what the like original code was from Chrome. That's kind of where like I'm thinking, but I don't think that it would affect these. Like that would be, yeah, I think that would be too much, to do because like there'd be way too many cascading effects. Like Microsoft Edge would be gone, like Opera GX, like essentially every other browser besides Firefox and Chrome would be dead. And that would not solve anything. Yeah. Yeah, for a 12% increase revenue, a 49% jump in earnings per share. It's doubling down on artificial intelligence, 17.2 billion in capital expenditures this quarter. And it plans to spend 75 million in investments this year. 75 billion, sorry, not million. Okay. Why are companies lining up to buy Chrome? There's also another article actually that's Yahoo. I think Yahoo offered $10 billion for Google for Chrome. I don't know why I can't find it. Chrome could eventually be up for sale if the U.S. Department of Justice gets its way in the remedies trial for U.S. v. Google, and there are already buyers lining up at Google's door. The actual other remedy because this was as a result of them determining that U.S. had Google had a search monopoly. One of the other remedies was to have Google license their search data. And that one actually Google like pushed back on the most, and it seems like that is like one of their like ones that they absolutely do not want to do. And I think that they also don't think that they're going to go through with them selling off Chrome. And so I feel like Google like thinks that the only thing that they got out of this was like them not being able to buy like exclusive search or like pay companies like Apple to be their exclusive search provider or default search provider, sorry, in like Safari. That's really like the only thing that's come of this so far, if I'm being honest. I have a feeling they're not gonna they're not gonna have to license their search data. Like that just seems that seems like a lot. And I don't really know what that would solve, I guess. Because then at that point it's like, why you don't have to go to Google then? If anyone could just get Google's data. That's what Bing does. DuckDuckGo is mostly Bing search results because they license the data. Could soon be Google. I mean, that'd be cool to like, because you could like have it be privacy friendly. Then you could use Google but not have your data stored. I don't know. Okay, any potential sale might not happen for a very long time. The remedy trial is still going on. A decision in the trial isn't expected for quite a while, and Google has already said it will appeal, which will definitely add more time to the process and could ultimately reverse a ruling where Google might have been forced to sell the browser. But let's say Google does have to sell. Who wants it and why? We're getting some of those answers from the remedies trial. Yeah. Who would? Let's start with the why. A browser is a great way to promote your own search engine, especially a browser that's widely used as Chrome. Google makes Chrome, so it's obviously makes sense that Google also provides Google Search as its default way to search the web. Yeah. Chrome is also the most widely used browser by a wide margin. It has an estimated 2/3 of browser market share. So that means many more people are using Google search instead of other search engines just because it's the default there. Yeah, that's like the big, like, I guess if you're not sure how Chrome like somehow influences that, it's like because Google distributes the search engine, they could control all of the stuff on it, and because that they have the most market share for the browser, then they could just by default set the most people to default search on Google, to default, use Google X, Google Y, whatever. But it's, yeah, I don't know. This is just such an interesting like dynamic. It's like, yeah, I don't know. It's very I guess it's kind of monumental. Google it. I think the use of Google search engine has dropped a bit. Yeah, it definitely has. We'll watch this after on the search market. But it's still like not in like significant, I guess. Yeah. I think it has, but like Google's still like, I think because Google's doing very well in AI, that they are sustaining like a reasonable amount, but I could be completely wrong. Let's read this and then we'll watch Flexi CEO on the search market. Here, we actually got it down here. Okay. And we'll see, and I think to your point, yeah, it's like looking at who wants to potentially buy it, that's a good indicator too. To your point. I don't even use search engines, I just had GPT find it for me. I use Perplexity. Perplexity is by far the most like AI search engine thing. Like it's probably far just the AI tool I use the most is Perplexity. I have not seen ads. In I think they have it in like the shopping one, maybe. I don't know. I've not seen ads. I'll say that. But he does. I just watched a interview with the Perplexity CEO, and he yeah. I mean, that is true. I have Pro. I have like the Perplexity Pro. I don't know. But like I feel like it's more so like people, like the sources I get sometimes, I'm like, what the fuck is this? Like it's like a video with like 100 views, and I'm like, okay, like that's more so like the where it's like I feel like it could be advertising where it's like somehow they like game the AI, like they game the system, so like the AI comes and grabs their stuff and then it gets put in front of you like that. I feel like that unintentionality is it. But the CEO is like very much against advertising, I guess. Not like against it, but like he doesn't want it to be the primary revenue. Like he wants it to be mainly subscription based, which is kind of what that's the same interview I was talking about previously. So I don't know. We'll see though. Again, like I think the market will be they're not making money. Then I feel like a lot of those morals go out the window if you really want to win. So we'll see. Okay, but wait, where were we? Oh yeah, here we go. Hey, what's up? How's it going? Covering Google selling off Chrome potentially. Okay, we got but the interest isn't just to push search. But Chrome is also the most widely used browser, has estimated 2/3 market share. Many more people using Google search instead of other search engines just because it's default there. But the interest isn't just to push search. Having a browser as big as Chrome gives company a service to push about anything. It's all, I mean, it is like it's your first. If you need to do anything on the internet, no one in hell's no one in hell is Google selling that shit. No one in hell. Yeah, I don't. I mean, it's gonna be a while. What we're also learning because of all the peels and shit. So, I like my hairstyle. Thank you, or lack thereof. It's actually just very short. I do have hair. I believe me. Just kidding. Sundays are my shaving days. Actually, I just missed it yesterday. Yeah, it's if you need to use the internet, the first thing you open up is the web browser, and that gives you incredible access to be the first thing that someone sees when they open up the internet. And it's also the window, literally, to the internet, and like that just has a lot of power to it. Owning Chrome would let a company suddenly put products in front of 4 billion people. If you're an upstart trying to get traction, that's unbeatable, especially if you're an upstart like an AI company that's trying to replace the default, which right now is Google. You're the eager potential buyers, at least that we know of. Yeah, OpenAI. This would be crazy. ChatGPT's, and because arguably OpenAI has their own monopoly. Like, I guess in a way, like they have their own shit that like they need to deal with, and the fact that they're gonna take over Chrome, like the OpenAI they would turn it to shit too, I guess is my point. Like I feel like I just don't trust them. ChatGPT's head of product, Nick Turley, testified that OpenAI would be interested in buying the browser. And where would they get the money from? OpenAI, like, they don't have any money. OpenAI already has web search features baked into ChatGPT, so it makes sense that the company would be interested in owning a widely used browser to potentially bring ChatGPT to even more users. Also, OpenAI, one of Google's biggest rivals, would probably be very happy to own one of Google's prized assets. Yeah, this would not solve anything. I'm sorry. Keep it. If this is the case, fucking let Google keep it. And then we have Perplexity. Now, Perplexity already is working on their own browser, and I'm excited for it. It got delayed. But I saw in an interview, mid-May is when they're gonna. They said they're aiming to launch it. So I'm excited for this Comet browser. I'm just like fucking. I'm just pumping Perplexity today, but Perplexity, please pay me. Yeah, this is their Comet browser. If you're curious, but yeah, I'm excited for this. So this is they have some overlap. There's some alignment. Perplexity also offers AI's powered search. Yeah, I'm gonna try it out. I don't know if I'm gonna like use it, but I'm definitely gonna try it. Mainly because I feel like this has to be. I need my Chrome extensions. I guess is kind of the, like I don't know what they're using it. They have to be using Chrome though. Let's be real. Okay. Anyways, it likely wants Chrome for the same reasons that OpenAI does, as a platform that gets more people to its services. It's also already making its own browser. With Perplexity CEO will help it build better agents and help it get data outside its app to better understand its users and potentially show them personalized ads. So I mean, yeah, I guess this is pretty much enough to not like. I'll definitely try it, but like now it's like, okay, clearly you're gonna be collecting data. And I literally just like up-talked him, like being like, no, he hates ads. And then he's like, oh yeah, I actually just want to show him personalized ads. Like the worst form. So, okay. Then Yahoo, which, let's be real, Yahoo's the most neutral out of all of them. I don't know who owns Yahoo right now. Okay, Apollo, okay, private equity. That's actually not bad, or not good. Private equity's like by far some of the shittiest. Like they get high. They're not public companies, so they have to divulge a bunch of data, so they could kind of just like be shitty behind the scenes because no one really like knows. There's less accountability, I guess. The company testified at trial that it's prototyping its own browser. Wow. We should do like there's so many different browsers being built right now, like desktop browsers. I'm pretty sure DuckDuckGo is working on one. We got Ladybird, which is a browser from scratch, although it's probably going to be exclusive to Linux. Perplexity's working on theirs. Yahoo's working on theirs. I wouldn't be surprised if OpenAI is working on a browser or something similar. I guess just a browser. I wouldn't be surprised if they are, but the people who made Arc, yeah, these guys are making a new browser. Not this one though. Yeah, there's quite a few browsers. So I mean, eventually the browser market will heat up. But Yahoo making one. At the trial, Yahoo Search General Manager Brian Provost said that actually buying Chrome would potentially cost tens of billions of dollars, but it's something that the company could make happen with the help of Apollo Global Management, its owner. Yeah, like little Yahoo. Yeah, and Apollo, like, they own like fucking like everything. And they've also invested in so much. Yeah, Yahoo email. Yeah. Yeah, Vicky uses Yahoo Mail, and like the spam filters on that are horrible. Like, I swear like every other one's like a fucking phishing attempt. Yeah, anyways, Apollo they're like Blackstone or BlackRock. Blackstone. Let's see if we can see who they own though. That's what I'm saying. They don't even like. It's like they don't have to share anything. I think they are public though, actually. But it's like they don't have to share details. Okay, Yahoo isn't the only company estimating a price in the 11-digit range. Gabriel Weinberg, DuckDuckGo CEO, testified that Chrome could be worth, in a back-of-the-envelope estimate, up to $50 billion. Yeah, it's like, basically you're throwing, oh yeah, that's a good point. It's like, who would even, can anyone even afford to buy Chrome? So should a company get the opportunity to buy Chrome, it seems like there's going to have to be have to front a lot of money. This is like, you know, this is like Twitter was sold for $40 billion. Which honestly makes me question the the pricing of that now. Like Chrome to me seems way more valuable than Twitter. But the enormous investment could be worth it. Whoever buys Chrome would instantly own a platform with billions of users, and right now, at a moment when Google's looking vulnerable, losing its browser to a competitor would probably be a significant blow. Oh yeah, I mean that would be crazy. Chrome General Manager said Chrome's features and functionality owe to its independence on other parts of the company. She reports that 90% of Chromium code has originated from Google since 2015. Chromium being the open source version of Chrome. That's like what Brave uses. Noting Android's reliance on Chromium, Boomer writes that earlier in the day, a computer science expert for the DOJ said even if it sold Chrome, Google would be motivated to make sure the source code is well maintained. So that kind of answers your question too, I guess. So it seems like if they sold Chrome, they would still hold on to Chromium, which is the open source. Oh, bro, that like makes no sense. The open source thing, in that, yeah, Google has in their best interest to keep maintaining the code, probably because they're reliant on it, I guess. Yeah, the remedy would stop Google from re-entering the market. Jesus. All right. Yeah, it's crazy. Let's see. Now let's watch. Let's listen to Perplexity's opinion.
Google's landmark antitrust case front and center this week with big implications for the broader search market. Our next guest is the co-founder of AI company Perplexity, and it's taking a lot of market share. Joining us right now in an exclusive interview, Perplexity's co-founder and CEO, Arvind Srinivas. Good morning to you. It's great to see you.
Morning. Thank you for having me.
You are taking share. It's I think all of us at the table have been using it. We've talked about how Stan Druckenmiller famously came on our air and I think introduced it to a lot of folks. By the way, I'm told that when he came on, you like had a massive increase in.
Yeah, that day was one of our biggest daily ARR increases.
Yeah.
Probably still top 2 or 3. Where
It's fast, Andrew. You tried to use Grok yesterday, and I was waiting. It was like waiting for Godot. It's like thinking. I want it fast. I don't care if it's right. I'm a journalist, but I do want it fast.
You weren't a journalist.
I'm a mainstream media journalist. Why do I need facts?
Let me ask
He's not wrong though.
you just what's going on in this space right now, because you've been continuing to upgrade the product in a remarkable way. But there's now a whole bunch of people doing a lot of different things. So you're trying to own the search space. Google's also trying to own the search space.
Yeah.
You've got Grok in there trying to do something with sort of super timely stuff, leveraging its data feed off of
like Grok.
X.
Okay, Grok, which is like ex Elon Musk like AI thing. Like it's kind of irrelevant now. It's not. I'm exaggerating, but I guess it's like, where does it fit in? And it's crazy that XAI now owns like Twitter. Like he sold the company to himself. So there's also that to think about. Like I wonder if people are using Grok, like what the active users of Grok are that is not like just Twitter users. That's the only thing I feel like Grok has is being able to search Twitter. That's like actually a kind of a good feature, because there are a lot of like useful, at least for tech stuff, it's like there's a lot of useful things on Twitter. And so being able to just like use Grok like to search over, like, hey, find me someone's like a tutorial for this thing, and there's probably a thread for it. But like I feel like Grok is, I don't know, they're yeah, they're not winning, I guess. Sorry, Elon. But everyone has search now. Claude has search. Anthropic's Claude has search. ChatGPT has search. Mistral AI has search. I forgot about Mistral. Like, everyone has search now. So, yeah. Anyways, okay.
Sort of super timely stuff, leveraging its data feed off of X. And then
Yeah,
you have
that's exactly that's like the only competitive advantage Grok has, I feel like.
the ChatGPTs and the Anthropics, more ChatGPT, trying to be also in the search space, but doing a lot of other stuff. Anthropic probably less so right now. How does this all play out over time in your mind?
So our recognition has always been for providing it fastest and most accurate in terms of, and also we pride ourselves on the fact that we can do it the most efficient way. If you look at people who offer APIs for search-grounded LLMs, that is LLMs which provide real-time information and citations along with the completions, we are able to offer the cheapest API right now, along with the highest accuracy.
And I think that is important because it is a race to the bottom. Like, people want the cheapest for the best, and so when it comes to the business and what they could do to make money from that is efficiency. Like, that's like their only option is like to become the most efficient. You know, like it's like just commoditizing it. The AI stuff's being commoditized very quickly, and it's a race to the bottom, just as it is with, you know, like you could think of like e-commerce or like selling a product. If anyone has ever sold on like Etsy or something, like it's a race to the bottom. It's whoever could have the smallest, have the smallest margins while still making money, that's what's gonna make you win. And like, it seems like it's kind of doing that. We're doing that here already. So if you could behind the scenes get the most efficiency so that you can actually make money off of charging so little, then it's like, then I feel like you're kind of sustainable and you could win it. That's a good point by him.
To offer the cheapest API right now, along with the highest accuracy, even better than OpenAI and Google. That's thanks to our own infrastructure, making it more efficient, fast, and stuff. So that's clear differentiation. That said, I do think this market of like just providing answers to questions will be a commodity.
It already is.
Like 1 year ago, it was not a commodity. Like, let's say we were doing it, ChatGPT were doing it. But now many people are going to do the same thing.
So what's going to be the thing, the layer that's going to make each service, including your own, distinct?
I think actions like like multi-step chain research, workflows, and actions. Okay, go and read all my reports. Go read the news on relevant stocks. Look at my portfolio. Now become my wealth manager and tell me like how should I change it? As you know, read everyday news about tariffs and inform me like about my exposure to certain stocks.
That's kind of what they're getting at too, because if we look at like, yeah, this Google earnings, it actually shows like the tasks here, and so I think that's kind of where it's like you could tell it something more specific, and then it actually will go and like fetch things and like go and use the tasks. So it gets like, oh, it searched, then it was reading, and then it analyzed, and then it had the answer. Like, I could see that being useful, and I think that's kind of like what they're gonna do with the browser, where it's like it'll just do this stuff for you. Yeah, I asked when I was like rebalancing my portfolio, I just asked like what they thought about it, but I'm not sure how you feel about it. I think it's a fantastic use because it could synthesize data extremely well. It could find trends way like easier and quicker. I don't know. The only thing though still is that it's too agreeable. I think that's the bad part, and especially for investment advice, it's like sometimes you just gotta be like, bro, this is bad, like just don't do this or something, you know, where it's like it's like, yeah, sometimes you just it has to say no, and I think that's still the hard part. Is like, it's like if it's a bad investment, it's probably telling you it's still a good investment, you know, even though the data's not there. It's just like making it like it wants to make you happy. And so it's like, yeah, like they'll justify it in different interesting ways. And I noticed that with myself, even where I was like, okay, like this isn't like that good of an investment. Like, relax. Like I'm just, you know, like, oh, because this and this is like this could be a good opportunity to do this, and like it could just realistically be not, and it just wants to give you something like positive. I don't know. But I think the whole task thing that he's saying is valuable, because that's kind of like what we're going to with like the agentic stuff, where it kind of just goes off, does stuff behind the scenes, and then it comes back. And I did like a deep research one the other day, and took like 30 minutes, and it did a bunch of different tasks and shit. Like it did like 50 tasks and like reading shit and like doing searches, and then it'll just like sends you a notification when it's done. And it just, you could do other shit while it's like doing that behind the scenes. I think that's kind of like, that seems very useful, because you could do other things while it's doing stuff in the background, instead of like a computer use where it takes control of your screen and computer and you can't do other things while it's using your computer. Yeah. I think it's useful, pretty useful. Value proposition is pretty clear.
About my exposure to certain stocks. That level of analysis and insights and actions, like you need that sort of an agent. And then you also need agents that can go do real browsing sessions, not like one query, but the equivalent of an entire search session. That's why we started working on the browser. It's called Comet. It's still not out yet, but it should be out next month.
Talking about browsers, I was curious. I don't know if you saw OpenAI saying that they would consider buying Google's
here we go.
browser.
All right.
Yeah.
What do you think of that?
We testified, one of our executives testified yesterday. The same exact question, what we said is, look, we don't want to buy Chrome. If Google were forced to sell it, like, we don't recommend that. We told the DOJ. Like,
you said you didn't want them to break up.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Did this? I just want to know, like, actually, like, like gun to their head, no bias, like what they actually, like, why, I guess. Because this seems to be the consensus generally in just tech in general. Like, I want to see like an insider perspective, like, actually.
Curious why, given that you're competing directly against them.
Yeah, and by the way, your executive said it's like a gun to your head, these Google contracts
literally
that are out there. What do
yeah.
you want
So
them
that I really agree with. That's a separate
So
issue.
okay, so she said the same. She was like the same thing. It's like gun to your head.
The Android side, as far as Chrome is concerned,
gun to your head, these Google contracts that are out there? What do you want
so
them
that I really agree with. That's a separate issue on the Android side.
Okay. Yeah, because I think Google's being attacked on all fronts right now. Their Android with Epic Games, Tim Sweeney, my boy, they won on some case against Google, and that's Android, and that's like another antitrust case that's going on that's separate.
As far as Chrome is concerned, Chrome actually was coupled with an open source project called Chromium. Since we all use the word wrapper, right? Microsoft's Edge browser is a Chromium wrapper, and it's the #2 browser by market share. So Google has contributed to other browsers too.
In a sort of open source like way.
Exactly. We are building a browser called Comet, and Comet is actually being built on top of Chromium as well.
Okay, yep, there we go. Confirmed. Knew it. So. So we'll have Chrome extensions. I hope they have an opt-out for data sharing. They have to. As a California citizen, I have certain rights, okay? I think they'll have opt-out for the data.
Oh,
I think that'll be the saving grace of it.
contributed to other browsers too.
In a sort of open source like way.
Exactly. We are building a browser called Comet, and Comet is actually being built on top of Chromium as well.
Okay.
And there are several other browsers like Brave built on top of Chromium. So you cannot just take away Chrome without Chromium. Someone has to maintain it, open source it. And I don't actually think, historically, reputation-wise, OpenAI has been pro-open source.
Yeah. I agree, because I don't think OpenAI's any better than Google, if I'm being honest. I just don't know about Yahoo. That's such a wild
So you
card.
think if somebody else buys it, it would be worse, and they would not allow you
I
to
would
do the things
expect
you're
that, because at least Google has established a track record of maintaining the open source project, even if their #1 rival Microsoft is building a competitive product to them.
Yeah, but if Chrome goes away, I know we just said that like there's other incentives, but I guess just looking at this specific case, if Chrome does go away, then they won't be incentivized to maintain this because their competitors now will have that. I know that we covered others, like there's others in play, but I guess just purely off that, like I don't know. I don't really know, honestly, like what this, like, I guess I don't know if I have a full
I don't think you
opinion
can
then.
say that about OpenAI.
But this is interesting. You know, you're telling the government, hey, they're definitely monopolistic in some of their actions, not in others. But it's going to hose you
Nobody's
if they...
evil. Like you know, they've done some wrong things. They've done some great things too. You got to take a balanced perspective. So that's why we said, look, don't break the company up. It's not even in American interest to break it up. It's one of the top 3 or 4 stocks by market cap. What we said is, really what you want is competition and consumers to have a choice.
Fair.
What they're doing on Android is like bad right now. We have like an Android app, an Android assistant that can control the OS natively. And they're not letting us like get it on OEMs, even if the OEMs want it.
Right.
Oh, interesting. So this is crazy. So it seems like they want where was this scroll down. This seems like Perplexity wants their app to be default on phone manufacturers like Samsung, but that they can't do that. And so now it seems like Google is also paying Samsung enormous sums to pre-install Gemini, and this is likely why, because Google's probably like, hey, we're paying you, so like don't let any other like AI chat, AI assistant apps or whatever on the phones, which is exactly what they did with the default search engine. With the search, like how it's literally the same exact thing. That's crazy.
We're having a partnership with Motorola, for example, where they're going to pre-install our apps. But our assistant that can call other apps and do work for you was clearly superior to Gemini. It was written on several blog posts by Android Authority, Android Central, and like nobody wanted to take the brave step of removing Gemini as the default assistant and making Perplexity the default assistant. Because if they do that, they're unable to offer Play Store, Maps, YouTube, preloaded on these phones. And if you cannot offer that, nobody can really install other apps on the market.
Well, if you feel that way about Android, how do you feel about Apple?
Well, Apple's like always been close, so they've at least adopted a certain framework.
He's like, at least Apple's like been consistent in that they're just always closed.
Okay.
Android started off as an open framework and has been moving more towards like Apple style, right? So you have to have a consistent position. And I don't think like the default search on Apple is like fixed, right? Like it's fixed through Google paying for it. It's not Apple's own service. But we brought out our assistant on Apple too, and we would love to be part of like Siri or Apple Intelligence once they open it up to more people. The hope is that both Android and iOS allow the user to pick the AI that they want for certain tasks.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, it's interesting. I guess we don't really get much on the search market, I guess, but yeah, Google's being attacked from all fronts. Okay, let's actually what are the other stories I had? Or what did I put in my title? Wait, describe a Chrome sell-off. Oh yeah, new Huawei chip. Okay, let's look at this video, which is kind of related AI wise. We got Jeffrey Hinton, godfather of AI, famous computer scientist. He has some opinions, I guess, on AI being more widely adopted. Let's watch this.
Last
Is he
December,
British?
Jeffrey Hinton was awarded the Nobel Prize for his pioneering work in machine learning, a major turning point on the road to artificial intelligence. Brooke Silva Braga introduced us to this leading figure in AI back in 2023 and recently went back to visit him. Good morning, Brooke.
Good morning. When we first met Hinton, the world had just been introduced to OpenAI's ChatGPT, triggering a kind of AI arms race. Hundreds of billions have been spent on AI in just the last 2 years. Hinton entered the field decades before it was cool, and now, retired from Google, has a unique, independent
I thought he worked at Google, so that's why I was like, okay, hopefully related.
perspective on how we got here and where we're headed.
This is a Nobel Prize.
Last year, Jeffrey Hinton, for most of his life an outcast professor, was awoken by a call in the middle of the night. He was getting the Nobel Prize.
People dream of winning these things, and when you do win it, does it feel like you thought it might?
I never dreamt about winning one for physics, so I don't know. I dreamt about winning one for figuring out how the brain works.
Yeah.
But I didn't figure out how the brain works. But I won one anyway.
That's because Hinton's attempt to model the brain instead helped change the world. In 1986, he proposed using a neural network to predict the next word in a sequence, the foundational concept that today's large language models
It's an expert at everything.
have built upon.
You believe then that we would get here?
Yes, but not this soon.
Because that was
Wow.
40 years.
Yeah, I didn't think we'd get here in only 40 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
But 10 years ago, I didn't believe we'd get here.
Yeah, it happened fast.
Yeah.
That speed, Hinton says, means education.
Bro, clean your fucking laptop, bro.
Hinton says means education.
Bro, no way he types like that.
That speed, Hinton says, means education and medicine will soon be transformed. Climate change could be solved. But mostly,
The
the lack of
Nazis are,
progress
yeah.
really worries him.
The best way to understand it emotionally is we're like somebody who has this really cute tiger cub. It's just such a cute tiger cub. Unless you can be very sure that it's not going to want to kill you when it's grown up, you should worry. I'm kind of
That's an
glad I'm 77.
that's an interesting analogy actually for like AI. That's such an interesting analogy. It's like a tiger cub. Unless you're sure, yeah, it's not gonna kill you when it grows up. Better let that fucker go. Or put it on a leash or something, you know?
I'm kind of glad I'm 77.
Hinton predicts AI will make authoritarians more oppressive and hackers more effective. He now spreads his money across 3 banks. The exact
I love this guy already. He's like, I have 3 banks on 3 different continents. If the AI gets loose in one continent, as long as it doesn't, you know. He's like, the undersea cables, like it takes 5 milliseconds round trip, so I have this amount of time, you know, spreading the money out.
exact odds of an AI apocalypse are unknowable, he says, but hazards this guess: a 10 to 20% risk AI will take over from humans.
That's like high. Okay, if we're being real, like that's high. Even 10%? 1 in 10? Like, that's like, those are some crazy odds for like extinction level events. 20%? Like, fuck. I feel like AI safety, I kind of like put it in the back burner because I kind of thought like it's kind of solved, I guess. Like I just kind of thought that people were taking it like serious enough that like we kind of thwarted a lot of like the doomsday thoughts, I guess. I don't know.
People haven't understood what's coming. I don't think there's a way of stopping it to take control if it wants to. The issue is, can we design it in such a way that it never wants to take control, that it's always benevolent?
Those concerns have long been shared by other AI leaders. Google CEO Sundar Pichai.
It can be very harmful if deployed wrongly.
XAI's Elon Musk, who continues to call for regulation.
It has the potential of...
Okay, this is 2023. They need to show a more recent interview.
civilizational destruction.
Sam Altman, seen here before he became OpenAI's CEO.
I think AI will probably, most likely, sort of lead to the end of the world.
But now...
Just casually. Just casually.
As these companies race each other and compete with China, Hinton worries they're foolishly, selfishly, putting all of humanity at risk.
If you look what the big companies are doing right now, they're lobbying to get less AI regulation. There's hardly any regulation as it is, but they want less because they want short-term profits.
Taking a stand against the establishment has been the hallmark of Hinton's life.
Hell yeah.
When American AI funding required partnering with the Defense Department, he moved to Canada. When neural networks were laughed at as unworkable, he worked on them for a few decades more.
Is that a certain thing in a person?
Yeah. You have to be contrarian.
Yeah.
You have to have a deep belief that everybody else could be doing things wrong and you could figure out how to do them right.
Any idea where that came from?
My family, partly. My father was like that. That's him there.
Hinton's legendary family tree includes not just his father, the prominent entomologist, but further back, George Boole, whose algebra innovations paved the way for computing, and George Everest, the surveyor who found the height of the world's tallest peak, then had it named after him.
So it hit there.
Wow, what a
Hinton's inheritance
family.
was a curious mechanic's mind.
Were you always interested in this kind of stuff, the way things work and how to fix them?
Absolutely. I loved it.
When one of our cameras fell, damaging a lens filter, Hinton wanted to fix it.
But this kind of tinkering, was this desire important to your work, or is this just a hobby?
No, this is a similar thing. When I would make neural net models on the computer, I would then tinker with them for a long time to find out how they behaved. And a lot of people didn't do much of that, but I loved tinkering with them.
Okay.
I remember with Ilya, we used to watch it learning, and we would have bets for like 25 cents on who could predict the new score best.
Ilya Sutskever, Hinton's
wow,
most famous
no way.
protege, went on to be chief scientist at OpenAI.
Wow.
Just set up a
Who has since had falling out with Sam Altman.
large neural network.
That's crazy. I didn't realize that.
Digital brain.
In 2023, he was part of the group that pushed out CEO Sam Altman, reportedly because they didn't trust that Altman was prioritizing
That's crazy,
safety.
bro.
I was quite proud
That
of it.
changes my perspective on the whole situation now, because I believe them more. That's crazy. I didn't know that. That they were somehow linked to, at least Sutskever was linked to him, and holy shit, that's crazy. I guess just because he has I trust his authority, and the fact that wow, that's insane. Cyberpunk apocalyptic story, actually, fuck, this is the fucking computer uprising history from the beginning.
Him for firing Sam Altman, even though it was
reportedly because they didn't trust that Altman was prioritizing safety.
I was quite proud of him for firing Sam Altman.
Holy shit.
Even though it was very naive.
Naive, Hinton says, because OpenAI employees were about to get millions of dollars that would be jeopardized by Altman's departure. Altman returned, Sutskever left. Hinton criticizes his former colleagues at Google more reluctantly, but says they're falling short too.
Were you disappointed when Google went back on its promise not to support military uses of AI?
Very disappointed.
But it's part of a pattern, Hinton says, adding Meta and xAI to the list of companies racing faster than they should.
For example, the fraction of their computer time they spend on safety research should be a significant fraction, like a third. Right now, it's much, much less.
Yeah, let's get
Hinton, now on the AI sidelines, says government regulation is needed, but doesn't expect it soon.
Wow.
I'm curious if just in your normal day-to-day life you despair, you fear for the future and assume it won't be so good.
I don't despair, but mainly because even I find it very hard to take it seriously. It's very hard to get your head around the fact that we're at this very, very special point in history where in a relatively short time, everything might totally change, a change of a scale we've never seen before. It's hard to absorb that emotionally.
We asked the AI labs mentioned in the piece how much of their compute is used for safety research. None of them gave us a specific number, but all have said safety is important, and they support regulation in general, but they've mostly opposed regulations that have come up before lawmakers so far.
Did he indicate which sector the breach?
They want regulation that's just in their favor. I mean, that's what they mean when they say they want regulation. We've covered that pretty extensively on stream, but especially with OpenAI,
Might technically happen.
Well, like he says, he's already worried about banks. He thinks banks are going to be a target. He has spread his money across different banks.
That's so funny that he spread his money out, though. Like,
It's a little scary, Brooke, but great reporting. Thank you so much.
A lot
Did you get the
scary.
lens fixed on the camera?
The lens is fixed.
All right, Nobel Prize winner.
there's a full interview. I might actually watch this. This is like outside the scope of
The last time we spoke,
the stream here, but it's full interview. It's an hour long. Looks interesting. Okay, we got some more big tech news. If Bing's targeted, I feel like we'd have large issues and spreading your money won't matter. Yeah, that's probably. I think it's probably a good assumption. Yeah, if Bings are targeted, you're likely just not getting a paycheck. Like, that's probably more, like, you're just not getting any money. Fuck me, bro. If Banks got targeted, like, that's crazy. Back to bartering. Gold price skyrockets. Bitcoin skyrockets. That's more so it. But, like, that, no. If banks are... Okay, actually, that's interesting. If banks are targeted, is crypto also compromised? Yeah, like, it's like crypto wouldn't even be safe. That'd be like the immediate, like, if not fucking doubloons, I'd be thinking crypto. Not fucking, what are they called, like bullion or bullion? What are they called? Yeah, bullion. Bro, that'd be insane. That kind of be interesting just to think about, though, like a scenario. Okay, let's look at some big tech news. There's really might not be much here. Okay, we'll read this one. There's been a lot of a lot of big tech companies saying that they're investing domestically now with tariffs, and just really Trump pushing people to do favors for him. And I don't know, it seems like all the big tech companies are announcing a bunch of big investments in the US over the next few years. Not sure how, like, if I'm being real, like how much I think that, like, it'll, like, I guess I just don't really know how much I trust them. Like, Apple's been like $500 billion over the next 4 years, but they've just been upping the number every year for the past, like, 5 years, since, like, 2018. Microsoft has said, like, they're spending like 80 billion at least on data centers. Google, we just read, is spending like 70 billion. Although we're actually going to look at how Microsoft may not actually be spending that much. But that's kind of the point. Is like they say this, but then it never actually goes through, and they don't actually spend that much, or they just like engineer the numbers to make it sound nice, but they've like already spent it, or it's just like not really being spent in like a more direct way that I kind of say, I guess. I don't know. Big tech shenanigans, I guess. So IBM pledges $150 billion to boost U.S. tech growth, computer manufacturing. International Business Machines Corporation on Monday announced it will invest $150 billion in the U.S. over the next 5 years, including more than $30 billion to advance American manufacturing of its mainframe and quantum computers. We actually covered a few weeks ago on stream how they announced a new mainframe that's made for AI. So that's interesting. In quantum computers, that's crazy too. That's interesting that they're doing that. IBM has always kind of been on the forefront of like computing. Like I think they're like early with supercomputers. It seems like quantum computing too. Now they're investing in. And then obviously the mainframe, but they've kind of always been like they've still maintained their roots, I guess, in terms of being like on the forefront of computing, which is cool to see, I guess. I'm not really sure what else they do, like, though, if I'm being honest. They have IBM Cloud. They own like the fucking Weather Channel and shit. But like I feel like they like supercomputing. I don't know. I just don't even know what they do. I feel like they're just kind of one of these, like, they're like Oracle. They're kind of like an old, like, legacy type of company that just, like, still, it's still just, like, on the top from their high way back, but, like, no one, their customers are other legacy businesses, I guess, is the, and, like, now it's, like, it's just, they've just got their customers, and that's that. Diverse portfolio of products, cloud computing, artificial intelligence, commerce, data, analytics, Internet of Things, IT infrastructure, mobile, digital workplace, cybersecurity. Okay. IBM 19 released Power microprocessors, which have been designed in many console gaming systems, including Xbox 360, PlayStation 3, and Nintendo's Wii U. That's crazy. I didn't know that. In 2016, the company launched all flash arrays for mid-sized companies. Software and data compression. Okay, that's interesting. Quantum computing. Software. They own SPSS. Statistical Software Suite. This seems like, okay, this is not what I have no idea what this is. Like, again, like, this seems like legacy stuff, if I'm being real. Like, it's fucking Java. Let's be real. Because I was like, oh, business intelligence? And I was like, bro, no one's fucking using Java for business intelligence unless you're a, like, legacy big tech company or you're in banking. They own the Weather Company. Yeah. Provides weather forecasting, including weather.com, which is the Weather Channel, and Weather Underground. Oh, they sold it in 2024. They have cloud services. Like Wyvern, IBM software available on AWS Marketplace. Okay, they have AI. Yeah, Watson. But that's like super. I always thought that was like supercomputers. And consulting. Okay, yeah, it seems like consulting is like where they IBM's consulting business is valued at $20 billion. Yeah, that's where they make their money, let's be real. Cool building. Okay, anyways. We have been focusing on American jobs and manufacturing since our founding 114 years ago. It's also crazy that IBM's 100 years old. Plus. With the investing in manufacturing commitment, we are ensuring that IBM remains the epicenter of the world's most advanced computing and AI capabilities, AS CEO Ariv Krishna said in a release. The company's announcement comes weeks after President Donald Trump unveiled a far-reaching aggressive reciprocal tariff policy to boost manufacturing in the U.S. As of late April, Trump has exempted chips as well as smartphones, computers, and other tech devices and components from the tariffs. Everything important. Kidding. All the shitty things you buy on Timo is important too. Some people. IBM said its investment will help accelerate America's role as a global leader in computing and fuel the economy. The company said it operates the world's largest fleet of quantum computer systems and will continue to build and assemble them in the U.S., according to the release. Yeah, they already build and assemble them in the U.S. But it is, I didn't know that they were like the largest quantum computing systems. I didn't really think quantum computing was like practical yet. I thought it was still like we're figuring it out. IBM competitor Nvidia, the chipmaker that has been the primary benefactor of the artificial intelligence boom, announced a similar push earlier this month to produce Nvidia AI supercomputers entirely in the US. Nvidia plans to produce up to $500 billion of infrastructure in the US by its manufacturing partnership over the next 4 years. Dad, this is... I've been like this break I've been reading and listening to more like insiders talk about like manufacturing and robotics and stuff, and like I have zero confidence that we're going to onshore a majority of the manufacturing. I think like unless you're a new company, that we're just not going to onshore a lot of manufacturing because of there's other problems like finding people to work at your the company, or like making the stuff. Even if you don't want that for robotics, I listened to the interview with this robotics CEO saying, he's like, even if someone wants to buy our robots, and he said that a lot of states even have grants that will match, like they'll like pay like half or something, like up to what you want for robots to automate things. It's that they don't know how to work it, implement it, create the systems, the all the other stuff that comes after you buy the robot. He's like, that's the problem. And it's like, okay, so in like if you think about like where these manufacturing places are, who owns them, it's a lot of older generation, not super technologically advanced. Maybe they don't want to change things. They like how things are. Like, it's like there's a lot of other things to consider about like what's going on. The people who are being successful are like the like Anduril, I guess, for example, like, but because they're high tech and they're very agile, and like they designed the way that they created the supply chains were always with America first, I guess. And I think that's kind of just those kind of people are really going to be the only ones who are going to start onshoring and building manufacturing domestically, primarily because they already were, but they're just agile enough, they're new enough, they're tech savvy enough to understand what it takes to kind of go from A to B. A being no automation in manufacturing, B being fully up and running like supply chain, I guess. I don't know. Last week, IBM reported better than expected first quarter results. The company said it generated $14.5 billion in revenue for the period, above the $14.4 billion expected from analysts. Net income narrowed to $1.06 billion, $1 share. Okay. Yeah, and the Z17 mainframe we actually covered on stream here. Okay, that's interesting. Interesting time. All right, I'm gonna take a quick bathroom break, and we're gonna come back and we'll cover this Huawei chip stuff, and then we'll cover Microsoft. Let's watch this. You guys watch this here. Be right back.
If you're anything like me, you're probably pretty dismayed at the price of a new car these days, which pushes $50,000. And if you want a new electric car, well, I'm sorry to say, that's going to cost you even more. But a new, very different kind of EV startup is changing all that with an EV pickup truck that costs under $20,000 after federal incentives. And here it is. This is the Slate truck, and we're going to take a look at it today. So the question that I had on my mind, and that a lot of you probably have too, is like, how did they get this thing to be so damn cheap? And there's a few things that go into that. Basically, this company says that they have stripped down manufacturing to its simplest form, and the truck is really, really basic. You get one color, that's gray. You don't get an infotainment system, but as we'll talk about later, you get a lot of really interesting options to customize this truck. You get this blank slate, they call it, just a platform, and then you can add on hundreds of different accessories to basically make this truck your own. But this, as you see it here, is going to be the base model that arrives in your driveway if you don't add any of those options. You can add wheels and wheel covers and all sorts of stuff, and you can even turn this thing into a damn SUV. So believe it or not, this is actually the exact same vehicle that you saw before. They turned this thing into an SUV, they wrapped it, and that just shows kind of how customizable and DIY-able this Slate truck is. It is quite a bit smaller than a Ford Maverick, and it kind of reminds me of those older two-door trucks like the Ford Ranger or Toyota Tacoma. The kind of whole concept here is to create a back-to-basics vehicle that regular people can actually afford. Slate is all about customization and DIYing your truck to be exactly what you want it to be. And it's a really interesting new approach, I think, to EVs. It's kind of crazy how many different combinations of add-ons and accessories you can add to this vehicle to make it look and feel however you want. One of the things you can do, you can wrap it. They say it's super easy to wrap. It has these coach lines, the body panels are really easy, and they say that professionals can wrap a truck in just 30 minutes. And just to linger on the color thing for 1 second, this is a really interesting way that they've cut costs out of the manufacturing process. The vehicle comes in gray, and that is dyed into the composite body panels. That means that they saved $350 million installing a paint shop in their factory, according to the CEO. This company has done a lot of really innovative things to bring the cost of manufacturing down. And changing the color of this truck is really just the beginning of the customization options. You can choose from a bunch of different covers for the daytime running lights. You can swap out that Slate badge in front and have it be whatever you want it to be. So here's how the customization program works. You order your accessories from Slate, and they'll arrange for a partner to install those accessories for you near your house and then ship the car to you, or you can actually do it yourself. And a lot of this stuff just uses regular hex keys, so it seems like pretty much anybody could figure out how to swap parts on their truck. So you're probably wondering, what's the range of this thing? You can get two different estimated ranges in this truck. The lower range one gets 150 miles projected, and the longer range one gets 240 miles. Remember how I talked about how they simplified the manufacturing process? So those are the only two variants that come out of the factory. It is one with a small battery, one with a big battery. Everything else is added after the fact as accessories. So the Slate truck is single motor rear wheel drive. Someday we might see an all-wheel drive option, but they're not talking about that yet. Really interesting thing, this comes with a Tesla designed NACS port, and it's actually in the right place on the back left of the vehicle, so you don't have to act like a jerk when you go and charge at the Tesla supercharger. The max power is 120 kilowatts, and they say that this car can charge from 20 to 80% in under 30 minutes. None of it is super impressive specs-wise. We're not talking about top of the EV market, but then again, you have to remember that this is more affordable than basically any other EV out there. The Slate truck will be built at a factory somewhere in the Midwest. They're not talking about that yet either. And production starts in late 2026. By the time things are up and running in 2027 or 2028, Slate expects to be making about 150,000 of these a year. It's kind of hard to talk about the Slate truck's design just because this thing can be so different depending on how you customize it. But I think in general, it looks really good. It has this really timeless, really simple design without being boring. And one thing that's really cool is that you can actually install the SUV kit yourself. They send it to your house, and there are actually two different options that you can choose from. There is this boxy one that we're looking at here, and there's also a fastback, which honestly is probably the one that I would order. I think this is a really cool option because it's something that you can do after you bought the truck. Let's say you have a kid or you decide you need more space, you can order that SUV kit and install it yourself. And that's just the stuff that you can do to the outside of this truck. There's also a ton of customization options for the interior. Here we are in the inside of the Slate truck, and it's pretty basic in here. You know, you have a good amount of hard plastic, but it has a nice texture to it. In front of me, I've got a digital gauge cluster that also functions as the backup camera. And I should note, this interior that you're seeing here has a few upgrades over the blank slate. In the blank slate truck, you'll have gray panels up here, and this brown leather is also an accessory. But one thing that is on the blank slate that you also see in here are manual windows. Let's give that a little go. Yep, they work, that's for sure. Powered windows are an accessory that you can buy, and you can get door bins, you can get a center console, and you can also outfit this dashboard in a bunch of different ways. You don't actually get a stereo in this vehicle if you order the blank slate. The idea is you can use your phone, and maybe you can put a Bluetooth speaker in the cup holder, and that's going to be your music. But you can also buy accessories from Slate. So in this one, we have actually a couple of speakers behind here that can connect to your phone via Bluetooth. There are some things that you do get in this vehicle as standard. That includes AC and heat. One interesting customization option for this interior is something that Slate is calling slatelets. And they're kind of like those little things that you can stick into your Crocs. They're basically these little tiles with cool designs on them that you can slot into this track. One thing that you might notice about this interior is there is no screen. Instead of an infotainment system, you get an app on your phone. You stick your phone into this phone holder, and it actually gets plugged into the vehicle. The app shows you how far you can get on a charge through this map, and also shows you where charging stations are. One neat thing that Slate does is they know that people probably aren't going to want to use an automotive grade mapping software or entertainment app, and so they let you use basically whatever your preferred app is. They don't force you to use something else. You can use Waze or Google Maps. Another interesting part of the app is that it actually allows you to diagnose problems in the vehicle yourself. This is a really unusual thing for any car, and especially for an EV, but the app will tell you what's wrong with your car and suggest ways to fix it, whether that's by yourself or by bringing it to a service partner. Some other options that I should mention about this interior: you can actually add steering wheel buttons over here that control your volume or control the track, and those will also connect to your phone via Bluetooth. On the left-hand side here, I can see that there are cruise control buttons, so you do actually get cruise control in this car, but it's just basic cruise control, no adaptive cruise control or lane centering. However, Slate does say that more advanced driver assistance tech is in the works. Another interesting thing about the Slate truck is that this thing actually can get software updates over the air, even though the truck itself is not connected to the internet. That's really unusual these days as cars get more and more connected. Instead, you can get software updates through your phone. So here I am in the backseat of the Slate truck. I will say I don't have the most amount of legroom. I'm 6'1", and it's a little bit cramped back here. I do have a good amount of headroom. It was not that easy to get back here because this is still a two-door vehicle, even when you convert it to the SUV. These windows also don't open. This is probably a good option for kids or maybe smaller adults. Overall, this interior is pretty darn basic, but it's really cool that you can upgrade it over time. So I've got to say, this is a really interesting concept, especially when you can
I'm a cookie ready to go. Hopefully this video is cool. Okay. What are we gonna cover? We covered IBM. Got this. Might look at these later. Yeah, let's cover Huawei. We took a look at this last week, week before, and compared Huawei's new chip to NVIDIA. Now, NVIDIA, the Trump administration made it so you need a license to sell certain chips to China. NVIDIA made a specific chip, the H20, for China, which is like a tuned down version of its H100 chips that meet all the export restrictions, rules, regulations, whatever. Pretty much the next day after that Trump administration put in the licensing restrictions, Huawei announced a new AI chip that is pretty much going to replace the H20 that NVIDIA has. And now that there's a license restrictions, all this kind of stuff, is perfect, timing for them to announce this. Because they're pretty much going to likely take over the H20 market in China. Huawei's new chip will. And NVIDIA's probably just done in China. So I'm curious to see what'll come of that and what Huawei's doing. China's Huawei develops new AI chip seeking to match NVIDIA. And I got my cookie. From tab. Yeah, I missed this interview. We forgot to go. Also, GamesBeat is now independent from VentureBeat, which is cool. I don't remember what this video is I clicked on. Yeah, it's related. Okay. Huawei Technologies is gearing up to test its newest and most powerful artificial intelligence processor, which the company hopes could replace some higher-end products of US chip giant NVIDIA. The study advanced by one of China's flagship technology companies points to the resilience of the country's semiconductor industry despite efforts by Washington to stymie it, including by cutting off access to some Western chip-making equipment. And there is an argument here to say that us putting on restrictions, in a way, gave China more reason to invest in domestic chip production, which sanctions and such sometimes do, but it's a balance. Huawei has approached some Chinese tech companies about testing the technical feasibility of the new chip called the Ascend 910D. People familiar with the matter said the company is slated to receive its first batch of samples on the processor as soon as late May. Some of the people said May. I mean, that's still soon. I mean, they've been likely working on this, but that's like a month out. The development is still at an early stage, and a series of tests will be needed to assess the chip's performance and get it ready for customers, the people said. Huawei hopes that the latest iteration of its Ascend AI processors will be more powerful than NVIDIA's H100, a popular chip used for AI training that was released in 2022. Yep. And that's the NVIDIA one that is like legal in China, and there's definitely H100s in China because I'm pretty sure they've been available. It's just I think it's starting from X time period going forward. They couldn't sell them, so they definitely exist. The previous versions are called 910B, 910C. Okay. Huawei has emerged as China's champion in a technology field where the US remains ahead. The Shenzhen-based company has developed some of the country's most promising substitutes for NVIDIA's AI chips as part of Beijing's efforts to groom a self-sufficient semiconductor industry. Yeah, and it's definitely in China's best interest, considering that this is now, one, the underpinning of the AI race, and two, becoming very political with most of American chips being made in Taiwan from TSMC, Taiwan Semiconductor, from which China is, the tensions are high with China. Huawei has been on a U.S. trade blacklist for nearly 6 years, showed its ability to shrug off American restrictions by releasing a high-end smartphone in 2023. The model of the Mate 60 was powered by a locally produced processor and raised eyebrows within the U.S. government when it was introduced during a visit to Beijing by then Commerce Secretary Gina Raimondo. The company's new chip uses packaging technology to integrate more silicon dies together to boost performance, said people familiar with the matter. The PFWTM. I feel like there just needs to be an acronym for this. The 910D is power hungry and less power efficient than NVIDIA H100. But notably, the power efficiency doesn't matter because China has power that they could give towards that. And that matters less in China than it does like across the more Western societies, I guess. Earlier this month, Washington added NVIDIA's H20 chip, the most advanced processor the company could sell in China without a license. Yep. To a growing list of semiconductors whose sales are restricted there, NVIDIA said it would take a $5.5 billion charge as a result. Restrictions offer an opportunity to NVIDIA's Chinese rivals such as Huawei and Beijing-based Cambricorn Technologies. Yeah, we looked at Cambricorn the other week, who is just a pure play GPU company, pretty much, which has developed similar chips. This year, Huawei's poised to ship more than 800,000 Ascend 910B and 910C chips to customers, including state-owned telecommunication carriers and private AI developers such as TikTok parent ByteDance. People from Earth Matter said the buyers have already been in talks with Huawei to increase orders of the 910C after the Trump administration restricted the exports of NVIDIA's H20s. I mean, so it seems like it's already like the ball's been rolling. By manufacturing bottlenecks, Huawei and several Chinese chip firms have already been able to deliver some products comparable to NVIDIA chips, albeit with a lag of a few years. Chip makers have been turning to technologies that can pack several chips together to create more powerful processors, as it gets harder and more expensive to make the circuitry inside chips smaller. Yeah. And this isn't this strategy, I'm pretty sure, is what NVIDIA has used in the it's been used in the past, so like this isn't like new, I guess, but it's probably a good way to get a more powerful chip with at the cost of every increased power use and heat and everything else just going up. Beijing also encouraged Chinese AI developers to increase purchase of domestic chips. State data centers have said most chips they use were from Chinese suppliers. Interesting. Still, previous Huawei chips have struggled to live up to their hype. The 910C was marketed to clients as a comparable to NVIDIA's H100, but engineers who have used the two chips said Huawei's performance fell short of its rivals. Okay, interesting. But that's the old chip. The 910D is the new one, right? Yeah. Huawei faces challenges in producing such chips at significant scale. It has been cut from the world's largest chip foundry, Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing. Yeah. China's closest alternative is SMIC, Semiconductor Manufacturing International, is blocked from purchasing the most advanced chip-making equipment. ASML was added to the ban list a few months ago, which is the makers of all the high-tech chip chip-making equipment. Advanced chip-making equipment. Washington also has blocked China from directly assessing some key components for AI chips, such as the latest high-bandwidth memory units. Given such constraints, Huawei executives have talked about focusing on building more efficient and faster systems to leverage their chips, instead of making individual chips more powerful. And that is arguably where NVIDIA still has some competitive advantage, is their software. NVIDIA's software, which includes CUDA, is far ahead. It's far ahead of any other competitor. AMD, Intel, I would assume Huawei. In April, Huawei introduced the Cloud Matrix 384, a computing system connecting 384 Ascend 910C chips. Some analysts said the system was more powerful than NVIDIA's flagship's rack system, which contains 72 of NVIDIA's Blackwell chips under some circumstances, even though the Chinese systems consume more power. Yeah, but that doesn't matter to the Chinese. Interesting. So also, you need 384 of the chips to equal 72 systems, or 72 NVIDIA chips. That's crazy. But I guess if it is more powerful, I guess though it's I wonder if it how much space it takes up. Is it if it's a full rack? Because I think the NVIDIA Blackwell, it's one, it's a big rack. This is one GPU, even though it's a bunch together. I wonder if it's if these 384 chips could fit in a single data center rack, or if it's several. And same for this, I guess. I feel the space it takes up then would be what to consider if power doesn't really matter. Connecting more chips in a system isn't a trivial task. It requires stable networks as well as software engineering to prevent network failures, industry practitioners said. Having 5 times as many ascends more than offsets each GPU, being only 1/3 the performance of an NVIDIA Blackwell. Research firm SemiAnalysis wrote in a report that deficiencies in power are relevant but not a limiting factor in China. Okay, let's look at a
reports this morning that Chinese
more
tech company
commentary on
Huawei is ramping up to test its newest and most powerful AI chip, which would be a competitor to chips made by NVIDIA. Christina Partsinevelos is here with that story to evaluate the threat. Hi, Christina.
Hi, Mike. Well, U.S. chip sanctions aimed at slowing China's AI progress just really appear to be unraveling. The Wall Street Journal, like you mentioned, reports Huawei is preparing to test its new Ascend 910D processor, Ascend, I should say, as an alternative to NVIDIA's premium offerings. But despite being blacklisted since 2019 and losing access to critical chips, Huawei really has innovated through this system-level design. So not necessarily the most advanced chips individually, but once they're layered on top of each other, they're much stronger. And according to SemiAnalysis, their solutions now outperform NVIDIA in several key metrics. Wall Street has definitely taken notice of this shift, with analysts reducing NVIDIA forecasts due to China revenue concerns. JP Morgan estimates that NVIDIA could lose roughly $15 to $16 billion in 2025 revenue.
Dang.
Why? Because of U.S. export controls. In other words, just losing revenue completely from China. Meanwhile, Huawei continues growing domestically, planning to ship over 800,000 chips this year to companies like ByteDance. NVIDIA shares are facing pressure, though. This is likely more connected today to Chinese AI model DeepSeek's version 2, which is expected to be released earlier this week. You can see shares down over 2%.
Didn't know that.
And that DeepSeek will enable more efficient AI models on lower quality chips. In other words, you may not need the most advanced NVIDIA chips. But for NVIDIA, this does represent a potential permanent shift in the global AI chip landscape as it loses ground in what was once a key growth market. Guys?
Yeah, but Christina, China's not at all that. I mean, they took that $5.5 billion charge. They can no longer even sell the H20 there. I guess, is there a chance that they could be competing against Huawei in other markets, where they would lose market share in other places?
Yeah, because, who's to say that they can't. Well, I just can't sell the chips to people outside of China. That's also very true.
Around the world from a Huawei chip, or is Huawei only going to be operating in the Chinese domestic market?
I would assume that they would definitely be sharing their chips just with nearby countries. I can't say. I have not reached out to them in regards to that particular 910D chip and then the C and B chips as well. But to your point, it's 13% of total revenue. So China contributes that. It's the lowest amount in the last decade, but it is still a contributing factor to their total revenue. So it is something when they start to get a hit. The write-off you mentioned was 5.5, but really that is just the write-off from not being able to sell those H20s. There's going to be potential loss of revenues, that 13% of total revenues over the next little while. So I think it's a larger hit to their bottom line. And if the quality is better, why wouldn't Huawei continue to ship to other countries that still maintains good relationships with China?
I was like, I mean, the short list is probably short because you definitely probably have to be some sort of ally to China. And that list, I guess the people who are allies with China like that are likely just they need other things than like high-tech advanced chips. Let's be real.
Aren't there reports that they might actually spare the H20 from the export controls? Is that real, or have you heard anything about that?
Well, the next one would be another version. There's another name for a B20, and so that seems to fall underneath the threshold. In regards to the L20 being spared, no, I have not heard anything about that. But we've seen just over the last several years, NVIDIA is very good at creating these workarounds, right? Every time there is an export control, NVIDIA comes out with another layer. And so now the latest one would be the Blackwell. And there are some mixed. I've seen some say it's not going to hit that threshold. Others
Bro, did I hear a fucking yawn? I was like, I thought it was like me.
Control. NVIDIA comes out with another layer. And so now the latest one would be the Blackwell. And there are some mixed. I've seen some say it's not going to hit that threshold. Others
you can hear me yawn. Did I hear a yawn in the middle
saying,
of this?
yeah, they're going to get blocked. And it kind of works against what the United States is trying to
I don't. They're literally talking about nothing right now. I guess we're waiting to see. I don't have any like sources and that. I don't know where else we could go for more information. I guess right now, besides just like searching Twitter or something. So. Yeah, this is interesting. I think that we just have to give up on China. Like, it's clear that, it's clear what is happening now. Like, yeah. I think NVIDIA can make up the revenue. I don't know if that's like a super... Yeah, I think NVIDIA can make up the revenue. At least they'll grow into it. It might not be this year, but I think with assuming AI demand at least stays a little bit, it'll be fine. Okay, this actually article is paywalled, and I did not realize that. Which is fair. Estimated data center pre-lease balance. Microsoft has so much more. Meta, Google, Amazon, Oracle. Oracle has a lot too. But we've been covering, I don't know if you could see that. We've been covering the Microsoft canceling data center capacity for a while. Yeah. But it seems like it's continuing, I guess. Microsoft significantly ramped up its self-build efforts, requiring tens of thousands of acres around the U.S. and globe, accelerating construction. They only impact 2027 plus. The more important slowdown of Microsoft's change to their self-built data center plans, or research indicates that Microsoft is freezing 1.5 gigawatts of near-term self-build data center projects. Interesting. But I think it's notably that it seems self-build, meaning that Microsoft's likely building them themselves. Like, that seems interesting. Very, very interesting. All right, let's watch some cool videos. I also think what I'm gonna do now is YouTube is definitely if you watch on YouTube, it's definitely gonna be more like a show. And I'm gonna end it around 2 to 3 hours, and then we'll continue to do some stuff and hang out on Twitch after, and just kind of fuck around more because Twitch doesn't really matter. YouTube is going to be more of a repeatable show type of thing. So we'll still end with these videos, but mainly because I want to show you about emerging technology. Like this will save for Twitch. I don't know what this is. Let's start with this. Oh. I'm fucking like gravity ball. Motors and propellers. So this is the Chinese space station? Bro, this is literally sci-fi. Like, this is like some fucking AI that controls the International Space Station and like goes and like looks around. Like, this is literally what this is. And the fact that it uses fans to move around is so interesting. Or like propellers. This is from its perspective. Like blurring this out. I want to see it move. There we go. And I was like, this has to be super inefficient blowing like this, but I think when you think about it being in space, so as long as you start moving, you'll always move in that direction. So you probably likely just need like a little bit to like get up to speed, and then you'll just cruise at that speed, and then, you know, when you want to stop, you just like kind of blow the fans in the opposite way. They don't have to constantly be blowing, I guess. I don't know what this says. There's no captions. It's like 3D scanning the place. 3D mapping it. Uh-oh. It's like, it goes back home. Yeah, it's going back up to its home when its battery's low. Like sucked in. System management. Interesting. This is okay, like if we're actually, oh, it actually has like different reuser programs. This is like literally super sci-fi because fucking like this thing, imagine just having like space stations. Every space station has one of these things to help and like maintain essentially the station when no one is there. And this thing flies around. It can maybe like do triggers, you know, it could visually see stuff. I don't know. It just seems like it'd be cool, like sci-fi. It seems very sci-fi. Okay, and we got the Kawasaki group. I don't even know what this is, but it seems cool, so I clicked on it. But Kawasaki's Japanese, though, notably. I don't know what they do besides like motorcycles. Like, they produce motorcycles, ATVs, utility vehicles, personal watercraft, general purpose petrol engine. Kawasaki Heavy Industries. This is just like Mitsubishi Heavy Industries, this is like cyberpunk, like, actually. And it's like, of course, like, their founders from the fucking like 1800s. Like, it's been around for like hundreds of years. But I think they're defense. Yeah, these are okay. C2. These are just like the C17 American variant. It looks sick though. I honestly, like, it looks so cool. Kawasaki. Right? That's what I was like. It's like actually cyberpunk. Yeah, okay. Oh, they make space shit too. High-speed trains. This is honestly cool, like, having them all like lined up and like all the different like designs and models and stuff, like, neat. Shipbuilding. Kawasaki Shipbuilding Corp. Industry. Industrial robots. Yeah, bro, they fucking do everything. Yeah, motorcycles. That's like what I pretty much know them for. American. They make so many trains too. Okay, so it looks like this is a train, so let's just watch this. Alice Systems. Okay, a completely new form of transportation unlike anything before. A comfortable private space. I mean, bro, this shit, bro, the fucking Japanese. It's like you stay in this fucking cube and like you're being like flown, transported, planes, trains, and automobiles. Bro, that's crazy. The Japanese get all the good things. Bro, look at the design of this ship, though. Like, this is like... No. This is fucking Wall-E, by and large. Never have to leave your chair. Fucking everything you need is on your chair. You are the cargo. This is the first versions of that. It's like, bro, you never have to leave the cabin. You can just live your entire life in the cabin. It'll just move you around. Like, look at this fucking airplane, too. This is, like, hella futuristic. Looks like a Dyson. Groundbreaking system allows stress-free travel. I definitely can see the appeal. Like, it's cool, it's an idea, but, like, it has to be for rich people only. Like, it has to be hella fucking expensive. Like no layover. Good for Japan, yeah. Or it could be very cheap because it could take like maybe like it'll be like the fucking like blimp argument where it's like it's very comfortable, or it's like a cruise. It's very comfortable, but it takes 5 times longer to get there. Some islands require to take all 3 train, plane, and boat to get there. Dude, they could literally pick you up at your house and you could just get inside there from your house, and then you never have to like step out until you get to your destination. Like, they could truck you to your house. Like, there could be a bus that comes and just like you get inside your fucking pod, and then you just like next time you get out, you're just at where you need to go. They got a bathroom in there, got everything you need, like. Users simply enter their final destination via their terminal to see recommended itinerary plans. Kobe. Oh, Kobe, that's where Kawasaki's place was, the shipbuilding place was, must be their headquarters. Singapore, Paris. Oh, I missed. What is that? Destination, view, cuisine. My cousin is stationed in Okinawa. He said getting there is pain in the ass. Yeah, Okinawa's like super remote. That's cool. Yeah, this would. This is crazy. It's just so interesting to think about, like, all the logistics of these though, of this, like thinking about like loading it into something, then unloading it, then transporting it to somewhere else, then loading it onto there. But there's like maybe hundreds that has to be loaded like this. Meat, fish, dessert. But additionally, oh, I missed the top part. Facilities I want to visit, food I want for lunch, or scenery I want to see. Gallop. Oh, wait. It said the Tower of Pisa, view horizontal line? Bro, it is. Like, literally, it'll go pick you up from your house. What does this say? Is this like H2 powered? H2 powered? Is that hydrogen? H2? Bro, oh wait, is that, if that is hydrogen, that's a very, oh wait, H2. Yeah, hydrogen. Oh, this is the H2 maybe. Wait. Okay, my thought process there was so far off. I was like H2 hydrogen, and I was like, made the connection that Toyota made a bunch of fucking hydrogen vehicles, and I was like, maybe that's a Japanese thing to be like hydrogen powered, and then that would make sense because they're also Japanese. But H2 is just their motorcycle engine, which makes way more sense. And that's also an interesting way to repurpose this motorcycle engine. Because, like, realistically, it's like this thing, it's not like it just needs to go from A to B. Oh, I missed it again. The Alice system is beautifully coordinates your journey. After that, just board the Alice cabin in front of you. Public transportation automatically connects to take you to your destination. There's like a bunch of other ones like driving. Until we get self-driving cars, like that could like, yeah, we need self-driving cars first. The cabin also equipped with concierge and communication functions and provide various support services. I see a toilet. Like, look at this. They all come in. I guess it's essentially a train cabin. Oh, this is a boat? Bro, this is so cool. Here's the plane. Oh, I keep fucking missing what they're narrating at the top. From railway to ship. And even to aircraft achieving seamless connections, users are freed from the stress of transfers. And I feel like the biggest part is like logistics of like transferring these. Like that's like honestly probably the biggest challenge. But like, bro, big fucking, actually airline terminals are like state or like owned by like the city and shit. I was like, big airline won't let this happen. Kawasaki has conceived a new form of public transportation system combining mobility expertise from land, sea, and air. This is crazy. This is not anything what I thought when I clicked on this. I love this font here. Do they have a website? I want to see more of this. Japan Expo 2025. Bro, I need to get someone to like pay for me to go to this. Can we get English? Sponsor me, Kawasaki. English button doesn't work. Why are you moving? Transfer motion book. To hunt more prey, to grow more crops, to transport. Okay. The translations of this are crazy. To grow more crops, to transport more things. Move here faster, more comfortably, to go to the place, to make various wishes come true. I've been moving since ancient times. The development of technology feel free. Hin does not stop moving. For one thing, a mechanism such as I feel happy by moving, there are search results that are incorporated at the genetic level. Okay, guys, relax, bro. You fucking... Oh, it was Kawasaki the one who made the fucking robot horse? I thought this was Honda. We looked at this on stream too. Like weeks ago. Oh, so they must have been like releasing a bunch of concepts. I kind of like this though. One option for the realization of hydrogen society. Bro, it is hydrogen. Bro, they fucking... What's up with Japanese and hydrogen, bro? Oh, they actually have like a full prototype of the transportation system made. Virtual Expo site. Bro, I need to get a VR headset. Especially considering how much like that I cover emerging technologies. I just need to like email people and just like, hey, like can I get a headset? I'll like talk about it on stream. Although I feel like there's always like a type of person that's like never do stuff for free. This is the expo. Oh, this is cool. Is it on the water? This was sick. I was not expecting this. Not expecting that. Yeah, and here's the horse, robot horse. The VFX aren't even like that good. Also, like, only wearing a helmet, like, bro, you need to wear like fucking full like motorcycle gear. You're wearing like tennis shoes. Yeah, I think it's sweet. Sweet. Okay, I'm gonna end on YouTube and then take a quick break, and then we're gonna watch some more trailers, some game trailers, some other random videos that we have planned. Okay, thank you YouTube for watching. YouTube, tune in tomorrow 9 a.m. for the show, or come over to Twitch. We're gonna hang on Twitch.